And I'm going to give you one opportunity because we're friends.
Winner! Who gives a shit about where the Bulls pick?
Yeah, F him. They went from loving this guy, best move ever, to hating him.
I think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
I love it because it tells you how the game was played.
There's nowhere for him to go. I think there's one place.
You can't do that in the national team. Do I look like I'm freaking kidding?
Those things that are absolutely insane.
Successful and sexy? No. It wasn't aggravating at times? Yes.
Sorry,
That's not very fair.
It's not about being fair.
Welcome to the greatest soccer show ever.
Brooks, it is Wednesday, and we're talking U.S. men's national team. The roster dropped for the March friendlies. The new kit's dropped. I picked one up. It is glorious. I absolutely love it, to be honest. There's another one, the Stars jersey. That's just as good. Trust me, I didn't get that one. I may go back and get that one. We're talking about all U.S. men's national team stuff coming up today, along with a couple other little pieces. Oh, we're going to do Champions League. Oh, we're going to do Villa. Villa are in crisis mode. Yes, Villa are in crisis mode. Oh, my God, it's killing me. And then we're going to talk a little bit of U.S. Open Cup. There was a cup set. Love it. There was a cup set. Brooks, how are you, buddy? You good? Looks like you're getting ready to write down some names. What are you writing down names for?
Oh, we're going to do a giveaway of one of our U.S. men's national team mugs. So if you guys leave a comment, feel free, and I'll write your name down, and then at the end, Craig will pick something out of a hat, and we'll give away a free mug here. We'll send it to you via the awesome We Are Soccer shop. So, yes. So, yep.
Yeah, man. All right, it is Wednesday afternoon, 11:30 Eastern, officially here. We're in Michigan. We're going to be talking about that U.S. men's national team roster that dropped yesterday. This is a really, really important roster. The national team roster for March international window is always going to be looked at with intense scrutiny. Manager Mauricio Pochettino, no doubt, cast a critical eye over it for 27 players named to the team for games against Belgium and Portugal. Two teams in the top 10 of FIFA rankings. Really, really tough opponents. The last opponents we're going to face before the World Cup kicks off here. The World Cup is kicking off for the U.S. men's national team June 12th. It's a 9 o'clock kickoff. That's Eastern time. The U.S. men's national team will play a pair of critical friendlies, as I talked about this month, with the first being against Belgium on March 28th, and then 3 days later against Portugal. Will Cristiano Ronaldo be there? We'll see. Who cares? Don't really care. I'm more interested who's going to be on the U.S. men's national team starting lineup and how Mauricio Pochettino kind of swaps them out and what he kind of looks at. Both matches are going to be played at Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So why don't we jump in? Why don't we just look at the roster when we go through what they've got? Brooks, I tell you what, man, I'm really excited for this roster. I don't know what else to say, but I like it. There's a couple of people missing. We know Tyler Adams is missing, but that's due to injury. But let's go through. Goalkeepers, Chris Brady, right off the bat, as you see the graphic there. I love the fact that he's been included. Roman Celentano, Matt Freese, Matt Turner back in the fold here. Brooks, what are your thoughts on this roster, man?
Yeah, for the goalkeepers at least, all starters for their MLS team. So that's a good thing. It's not a backup player. It's it's legit. It's someone that's been in goal and has minutes and has done well. Obviously, Matt Turner coming back over to the New England Revolution to get more time and not sitting behind people at Crystal Palace, which is good. Roman Celentano has been really good for FC Cincinnati. They wouldn't be in the position they have for the past couple of years without Roman. The question is, what are you fighting for here? I think Freese gets the start. Does Pochettino play another goalkeeper maybe in the second game, or does he just keep rolling with Freese? That's the question. Ultimately, I do think the three goalkeepers we'll take here are probably Matt Freese will be the starter, Turner will be the 2, and then I think Brady will be the 3. So, and that could be vice versa between Brady and Turner, I guess, depending on how they do in camp. But it's interesting to see if Pochettino gives another goalkeeper a rollout here in these last couple friendlies before the World Cup.
I was going to say, listen, it looks like Freese is dead on nailed for this job, right? And then who's he going to bring in? Because you have to give some time to someone else. Is it going to be Turner? Is it going to be Brady? Is it going to be Celentano? Gun to head, Brooks. Small injury happens to Matt Freese. Who are you bringing on, or who do you believe the Mauricio Pochettino will bring on to give minutes to in these games? Because it is super important to make sure your new goalkeeper or your goalkeeper that you're going to go into and rely upon as your backup, official backup, has minutes under his belt in these big games.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's just Matt Turner. I mean, it's just it's a no-brainer, you know. It's just he's played in big games. He's played in the World Cup. Obviously, the last World Cup he played in and started, so he has matches. So obviously that's the one you probably bring in and give time to. Unfortunately, the third guy won't play, but he'll be a part of the camp and he'll be there. He can take his opportunity, impress the coaches, and try to keep building his profile for the national team. So,
all right. Listen, I don't know what else to say. I think we're all in agreement on that. For the goalkeepers, your defenders, Max Arfston, Alex Freeman, Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream back in full. I guess we should have expected that. Chris Richards, high-flying Chris Richards, having a great season at Crystal Palace. Gone downhill a little bit in the last coming months with the way the club's going. Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson, Joe Scally, Austin Trusty. All right, Brooks, how does that shake out for you defender-wise? What are you thinking there, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Max has done well. He's performed well, right? I think if we're all gonna say, I think Anthony Robinson gets the start at the left back, unless maybe he wants to utilize him as a left center back. I don't know. Maybe in this interesting world, he's played Alex Freeman as a right center back when but Dest is hurt now. We don't know if he'll even be back or in time or will play in the World Cup this summer. So, is it? But to use Joe Scally as one of the center backs, this is the interesting part. Is a lot of these guys are bigger outside backs that can play as a center back and a 3-back. So, will Tim Ream get a run? It'll be interesting. He didn't. He did a little bit in the fall, and then he got removed, and then other guys played ahead of him. Is Austin Trusty? Has he done enough to get a run just to see hey, I'll play you as a left center back? It'll be interesting, but I definitely think Richard starts, Alex Freeman for sure now that Dest is hurt, and definitely Robinson. Obviously, the question is where, and then where does that leave Max Arfston? Is it as a left back, first one coming off the bench, or like I said, if they play a 3-back, is he one of the wing backs? Because I think that suits him much better. Anthony Robinson can play in a 3-back or a 4-back, but I think Anthony Robinson would be your first choice if you're going to play a 4-back.
So overall, with the defenders, Brooks, how are you feeling about this? Because I actually really like this group. I think this is the right group. How are you feeling? Because, man, I think a lot of people are just going to key in on Tim Ream and go, come on, man, what is going on with him? But again, you need leadership in big tournaments like this. You need guys who before the game and at halftime, even if they're not playing, can calm the players down, and they see things on the field and they can pass along little pieces of information, right? Tim Ream has been around, seen it, and done it. So he can pass along little bits of information before the game or during halftime to players, and really, I think he'll know his spot. I don't expect him to get a ton of minutes personally, but how are you feeling overall about this group of defenders?
Yeah, I like it. It's, I'm not crazy about Mark McKenzie. I never have been. I mean, he's not bad on the ball. I don't think he's as athletic as I'd rather have Chris Richards there, to be honest with you, a more powerful presence. But if Mark McKenzie's playing and is doing well in France, then he needs an opportunity, right?
Yep.
Unfortunately, I don't think a guy as much as Walker Zimmerman wants to get called in, I don't know if he's really started off well for TFC, to be honest with you. I just think he's just lost a little bit of a step, unfortunately. If you need at some point to bring in a veteran presence, but I don't think you'd waste 2 positions on 2 veterans. I think you only want 1 back there, to be honest with you. If there's a veteran you're going to bring in like Tim Ream, that's not going to play. Barring if Ream gets injured, you want to bring in Zimmerman if it's enough. But no, I do like it. I mean, listen, I feel comfortable with the outside back position. I think Arfston's proven himself decently well at the national team level. He's done well at the club level. We know what Anthony Robinson can do in the EPL. He's, sometimes been top 5 left back in the EPL, I think people would say.
Yep.
Liverpool, there's been linked to Liverpool and other big clubs,
Struggled this year, right? But he's had injuries and a different manager. Silva's kind of changed things down a little bit, but he struggled this year to get on the field and do consistently. But again, I still think he's one of the best left backs for the U.S. Is the best left back U.S. men's national team has. And without him, dead in the water in that position.
Yeah. The question is on the right side, what do they get in terms of service? Listen, I think Joe Scally isn't a horrible right back, but I would rather play him as a right center back in a 3 and let Freeman go forward a little more. But the thing is, Freeman hasn't played a lot of Villarreal. So how does that factor in? Because that's the question there. Because Scally has started for Gladbach. He's gotten minutes for him, you know?
But man, I tell you what, Alex Freeman was having the games he's played for U.S. men's national team in the last, couple of windows here. He's been incredible. He's been as a person when you're like, this guy is on the bus because not the plane as they say, but he's on the bus, and maybe even the starter. I think we said, listen, he's pushing Dest right now. I remember the last time we talked about this team, we said he's pushing Dest right now.
Yep.
Freeman could be the starter, and now Dest is injured. Hamstring injury officially, I believe it is. I don't think it's going to need surgery, but they looked bad the way he was helped off the field. I would be comfortable with Freeman the way he played in the last couple of windows for this team. I would be comfortable rolling out with him in the first game.
Yes, and then when we move to the midfielders, I'll make a case for some people that can maybe move back into the back line and could be fillers for whatnot because there's guys with versatility. So
I like where that's going. Brooks, because we're about to jump into the midfielders. Now, this is probably one of the ones that the most controversy is coming in here, okay? All right, so midfielders are Sebastian Berhalter, Johnny Cardoso, Weston McKennie, Aiden Morris, who's currently plying his trade from Middlesbrough FC in England, the championship. Gio Reyna, we're going to talk about that for a little bit. Christian Roldan, Tanner Tessman, Malik Tillman of Bayer Leverkusen. All right, Brooks, listen, this is the one right now. Obviously, the big player missing there is Tyler Adams.
Yeah.
Injured. All right, he limped off last week. They said it doesn't look serious. What I'm concerned about is he's going to miss time again for another injury. We got a World Cup. We're less than 90 days away. He's going to miss time. I hope they brought him in. I don't even know why. I just hope. Really wish he would be here. Okay, and I'll give you an example. And I know we're maybe focusing on one player too much, who's not even in the squad, but I wish he was here. I hope he comes here for the games, even though he's not in the squad. But can he come here? And I'll give you an example of what's happening. Belgium. We play Belgium. Yuri Tillemans for Aston Villa has been injured for the last 2 months. He's announced that he's actually traveling with the Belgium squad here so he can be part of the team because he knows he's going to be healthy or somewhat healthy for the World Cup. And he is one of their key components, one of their key cog midfielders. So he is traveling with the team, and it's being praised that he's traveling, right? I really hope Tyler Adams is traveling from England, from Bournemouth to here, to be here in America with the team in these games because he is a captain on the field when he's healthy. So anyway, it's a big miss. Overall, though, what are your thoughts on the midfielders that were selected?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Sebastian Berhalter's played his way into the conversation. I mean, he does it week in and week out for the Vancouver Whitecaps. He's shown in moments when the full squad's not there and he has to fill in, that he's made plays and he's capable of being a midfielder. And listen, the kid's overcome some adversity, not playing a whole lot at Austin FC and almost thinking about quitting soccer because it wasn't going very well. And Vancouver's the one that gives him the chance, and he takes the opportunity. So he's a good one. Again, you and I were talking about this before. Listen, I've watched Johnny Cardoso at Atletico Madrid. They play just a different style at Atletico. It's very pressing. It can be direct, winning second balls. And for me, listen, Cardoso was very good at hunting down and taking balls from players and whatever. But if you're asking to play a deep line 6, I don't know if that's his position. I'd rather put Adams there. And I think he's better in a double pivot than he would be in a single. And we've seen him make some major mistakes in friendlies. So this is for me, this is an opportunity. Can you show the fans and Pochettino what you can do? Because he has scored goals. He has started for Atletico Madrid. But just because you start for a big club doesn't mean you deserve a spot on the national team. That's the thing here. Weston McKennie has done phenomenal at Juventus.
Signed a new contract?
He did sign a new contract, and he's a versatile guy. He can play. I don't know if I want him to necessarily got to play through, but he can be at times. But he's a box-to-box 8. I think he's looked good at times when he's had to be a wing back or a right back for Juventus. And I think there's been some times where he's had to fill in on last-minute occasions to be a right back for the men's national team. So if we talk about the right back position for Freeman, Weston McKennie's had a little experience there, so that's good. Aiden Morris from Middlesbrough, he's been good. He started. He is probably, I imagine, one of the reasons why they are doing so well in the table in the EFL Championship and in the second place. So I mean, it's a no-brainer why you wouldn't bring the kid in. He offers something a little different. He's a box-to-box 8 that's going to get stuck in. He's not bad on the ball. He makes some good decisions. You know, so you know, he can definitely play, you know, next to Adams if he's ever healthy enough to play in the World Cup or play next to someone. Gio Reyna is an interesting one. He hasn't played a whole lot. But he's performed when he's been in with the national team. And I wonder if this is a weird one, like a James thing, where he just is not very good at club and he just, for some reason, is really good with the national team.
Sure.
You know, that's an interesting one. Does he start? Does he come off the bench? Like, which game does he play in? They list him as midfielder here, but is he going to play higher up as a winger? Because you have some players that can interchange between some that are on the forward list that are in the midfielder. So that's an interesting one. Christian Roldan, I love. People don't love him as a pick, but he's just so versatile.
He's a worker, man. He's a hard worker, and you can put him in there and you say disrupt. Listen, excuse me. Occasionally he comes up with this little bit of brilliance here and there, but in my mind, I'm not the biggest fan of Christian Roldan, but he's a worker. You know, you put him on the field, he's gonna work. And you tell him, go mark someone. Make sure you disrupt in the middle of the field. Do your job, and he will do it to a T.
Yeah. Right?
He's not going to go win you a game, in my opinion. Watch, you'll win the first game.
No, he won't score the goal to win you the game, but he'll be the one that he makes the tackle, gets the ball, gets the turnover possession, and gets the counter going the other way. Or he's that type of guy. Or he'll make the extra run that'll take someone away from the play and open up someone else. But Christian can play. You know, if you need to do I think he's in his emergency right back, or he's played as a winger before at Seattle. He's played a lot of multiple different positions, and he's won a lot at Seattle. I mean, in Seattle we're competitive in the Club World Cup too. So
I think if we get into a spot where he is starting, we are in major trouble. Okay,
yeah.
In my opinion, he's a guy to come off the bench.
Sure.
Disrupt.
But I think he's a good one that he gives you 25 or 30 off the bench. I think that's a good thing.
But if we're starting him at any point this year, or he's playing in this World Cup, or he's playing more than 45 minutes, we are in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I don't mind him being, especially the way he's performed in the last couple of windows with the team. So yeah, it's fine. Move on.
Tanner Tessman, I mean, an interesting one. He's gotten, I think, better as he's played at Olympique Lyon. I know he may want to make a move back to Serie A, if that's possible. But Tanner's an interesting one. He's had moments when he's played. I don't think he's put on a full show. Again, I think if you play a 3-back, you could slot him in as a right center back, or as the middle center back. In my opinion. But yeah, I mean, is he a starter? Nah, I'd rather have him come off the bench to try to change the game in different ways, but he's not a bad one. And Malik Tillman's just doing what he does for Bayern Leverkusen. Week in and week out, he's been a big reason. Well, part of Leverkusen's squad and their success and everything. And he'll be a 10. If you play a 10 in the Bundesliga, you can play the 10 for the national team.
All right. Well, the big one that people are going to focus on again is Gio Reyna. So Gio Reyna, it actually is incredible. In 2026, he's logged a grand total of 26 minutes of playing time for his club side Borussia Mönchengladbach. He hasn't played at all in the last 2 months due to partial muscle injury, but Pochettino said he's impressed with Reyna's performances during the November international window when he scored the opener, a 2-1 win over Paraguay, and added an assist off the bench in a 5-1 triumph over Uruguay. I before the November window, said he should be nowhere near the national team. Then he comes in and he does that, and you're like, holy crap, this guy can actually show up and play when he wants, and he just needs to have a U.S. men's national team jersey on. And when he puts that jersey on, he becomes Superman.
Yes.
And you know what? 26 minutes of playing time for your club team does not equate you getting minutes for the U.S. men's national team.
Correct.
Except if you're Gio Reyna and you put that shirt on and become Superman. And I'm going to give the exception. This is an exception, and I 100% agree, because he is on the bus. He is. If we're that first game, I hope he starts that first game, June 12th, the U.S. men's national team. I'm interested to see how he's recovered from the muscle injuries and if he gets any minutes here in the next 2 friendlies in March for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah.
Brooks, it's one I think a lot of people we would not be saying this if he hadn't have shown up and played in those games in the November window. But here we are, and I like it. Moving on to the forwards, unless you want to.
Well, just the one thing to add. I mean, we did a short video. You know, we talked about him last November, and you know, he is a game changer. There's no question that when he comes into the game, he plays in those half spaces and those pockets and combines, and he does a lot of different things than what, you know. I mean, Christian Pulisic can come into the pockets and do stuff, but sometimes, you know, he wants to be played over the top or run at people. I mean, he doesn't mind coming in the pockets, but he just offers something different that gives you a different look, and he gives Pochettino an option to change the style and look a little bit and how they want to play. If he wants the outside back to get forward a little more, or maybe Reina gives an opportunity for a midfielder to go further if he wants to play in the pocket more. So it's interesting. We'll see how he's utilized and if he does start in the match.
It's funny. I got into a conversation yesterday with someone about game changers within the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who are game changers that can take the ball and do things? And I said, the U.S. men's national team to me only has two. And he looked at me and he said, well, Christian Pulisic, and who else? I said, Gio Reyna. Everybody forgets about Gio Reyna because you don't see him except for every 3 or 4 months when he shows up at the USA. But he is a game changer. He's someone who can get the ball. He can dribble at people. He can do things. There's not a single player, in my opinion, in this U.S. men's national team other than Christian Pulisic who can do that. Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, the only two. And in the world, I would say there's probably only a handful. I would say maybe about, there's I could probably pick out about 10 players that can do it. He is one of them. He is incredible when he puts on that jersey, and we need him. At some point, Brooks, we're gonna do a discussion on American youth players.
Mm-hmm.
And the lack of creativity these players now have, in my opinion, and how it's being coached out of them. That's going to be a very fun topic.
Okay.
And I am, as you can tell, very passionate about that. All right, moving on. Let's get to the forwards. Brandon Aronson of Leeds is in there. He's worked his socks off at Leeds and doing very well. Patrick Aubameyang's there. Florian Balogun's there. Ricardo Pepi. Great to see him back. Christian Pulisic. Timothy Weah. We got some pretty good players here who can put the ball in the net, who have been putting the ball in the net. The one who isn't on the list here, Haji Wright for Coventry City, who's been scoring some big goals for that club. Yeah. But unfortunately, he is now injured, which is actually a bummer. Mm-hmm. Brooks, how you feeling about the forwards here, my friend?
Yeah, they're interesting. So like I said, Brendan Aronson can play in multiple positions. He can play as a pocket 10, or he can play as an out-and-out winger.
Yep.
He could probably play as a second forward if he wants to, but I don't think you're going to play him there with the guys you have there. Could he drop in and play like an 8 or something for sure if you needed him at some point? But he brings versatility. Is he a starter? No, but he's a great guy to have off your bench that in pressing moments he'll make a difference, or just being a hard worker and finding ways to make plays. Yeah. Ajiman, Patrick, he scored goals at Derby County. I didn't think it was honestly going to be this quick and easy for him. I thought he'd struggle a little bit, but he's done it. He's a big physical presence. He's scored goals in many different ways with the head, his feet, and the question is, does it translate into the national team level? And that's always the most difficult part. Is you can score with your club in the league. That's great because you're comfortable and you're in training with guys all the time, but when you're with brand new guys, or not guys that you're not with every single day, can you come in and find the magic? And that's the question. Balogun is still, I think, one of the most talented forwards we have, in my opinion, just in terms of versatility. Can score with both feet, is good off the ball, comes in and connects, good at soccer IQ with off the ball runs. The question is, he's always never put it together really for the national team.
Right.
So he does it all right for club at Monaco, so that'd be interesting. Pepe obviously faced some injuries, but offers something a little different. Not bad in the air, not bad off the ball in the run in, but he scored some big goals. Pulisic, we know what he can do. He can be versatile. He can play as a 10. He can play him as a winger. He can be, in a 2 forward front. He could be the forward, maybe that drops in or goes over the top or whatever. Tim Weah, in my opinion, has fallen off a little bit. I think, he offers a lot. I think as a wingback, if you play him in a wingback situation, I think he's better at that than necessarily being a pocket winger, or because he really has to play out and out because he's not good back to goal. Mm-hmm. But he does offer some stuff. He's been with the group a lot. But I think, I'm sure Pochettino's looking at him and be like, who is it? Is it Aronson, Weah? Is there someone else maybe out there that's interesting to play? Do you start Balogun out wide and you put Ajiman and Pulisic? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do here, to be honest with you, because I mean, you could probably put Flo Balogun out wide and do something with him, to be honest with you, because he can run at players. I'm not saying he's terrific at it, but he's better at running at players than Pepe and Ajiman are.
Oh, I agree.
So.
I actually like that when you're in a pinch and you need a goal. Let's say it's the third or fourth game and you need a goal, to get through to the next round. What's wrong with putting him out wide, putting Pepe as your your true 9, your holding 9,
Yep.
your big guy who can head the ball when crossed in, right? I really like that idea. And again, I like what you said about Brendan Aronson. Brendan Aronson's having a great season right now at Leeds, and he's just working his socks off, man. Another hard worker. Is he going to change games? Probably not, but
Not as a starter, but I think off the bench he will find moments to change games.
agreed.
Yeah.
And listen, where does Gio Reyna fit in? Because will he be a midfielder? Can he be pushed up top if needed as well? Can he be pushed in an inverted 9? Bring him back if you want to change and play 2 up top. I really like those options as well, depending on how you need to play and what the situation is. So I wonder if we're going to see a lot of those maybe little formation changes here as we play Belgium and Portugal in friendlies.
I think so.
Tune-up games, we'll call them, right before the World Cup.
Yep.
Yeah. Brooks, overall thoughts on the U.S. men's national team roster? You liking it? You happy with it? This is where it needs to be. You got 100% trust in Mauricio Pochettino?
Yeah, listen, barring a few injuries, right? If Dest and Adams were 100% healthy, they would obviously be in here. That would push some guys out, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I mean, some of these guys are performing very well at clubs. Some have some to prove. Like I said, Reyna's the outlier with the guy that for some reason plays well in the national team but can't find it with the club. There's always injured for some reason. But it's a group that gives me hope that they can do well in the group stage, and then if they put it all together and have good camaraderie, and with Pochettino's experience and just trust that the players have in him, that they can turn this around, because really it has. Oh yeah, Luna's injured. Katie brought that up.
I was about to say Diego Luna's not in there, right? Dude, is he officially injured? Is officially injured because we know during the November window, Pochettino, sung his
high praises. Yeah,
loved him with high.
And that's another guy, interesting one off the bench, right? Like, he won't start. Is he one of the top guys, first guys off the bench? Probably not. But depending on the game and the situation, maybe it changes, right? But
I think he can be a game changer. I think he, not just because he works hard, but because he has those little pieces of skill and flair and the work hard, the work ethic he has. So he's a game changer. We need to make sure he's healthy, because in certain situations, I think he could be the guy to get in there. And if Gio Reyna's not doing it, my next guy up is Diego Luna. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, but I like it. Obviously it's going to be hard to cut down that roster to the certain amount he'll need, because obviously this is more than the players he can take. This roster, it consists of 27 players. I think 25 or 23 usually they cap it at for the World Cup. So obviously they only take 3 goalkeepers. They won't do 4, and then they'll probably cut down the defenders a little bit and whatnot. But yes, so no, it's a good one, and this is the time to make the statement. Who's going to make the statement and make the plays and stay on Pochettino's list. And I think he's just planning. I mean, you got to plan too. These guys have so much time left in their club season that you have to plan, if someone gets injured, who's my next man up, or how do I change the formation?
Yeah. The other funny thing is, before we move on to the next topic, I just want to say one thing. I was talking to someone yesterday. I said, listen, what you're going to see right now between now and the end of the season, the domestic seasons, is you're going to see 2 types of players. Players who believe they already have a spot on the team. They're already on the bus, they're already on the plane, heading to the 2026 World Cup. And they're going to start pulling out of tackles. They're going to start really trying to look after themselves to make sure they don't miss out on this World Cup, okay? So you may see some levels of play from certain players go down. Then you got guys who going, you know what? I don't know if I'm on that roster yet, a dead-on nailed spot. So I got to pick it up. I'm going to bust my butt and do whatever it takes, and I am going to go all out. So you're going to have 2 types of players. One who's going all out, and one who's going to just take it a little easy because he doesn't want to get hurt. So, and I think that at the end of the year, we see this before every World Cup, before the rosters drop, we see this every single time there's a player or two who everybody goes, well, yeah, he dropped off a little in the last couple of weeks or months, but he's on there. And then all of a sudden, he not. And I think one of the ones was Pepe in the last World Cup.
Sure.
Right? Pepe, we all thought, nailed in there, nailed on for the forward. Maybe not starting, but he's going to be on that flight. and he wasn't. He wasn't selected. I think maybe he was one of those guys who said, I'm already in, going to take a little bit of time off here and not put all the effort in. So anyway, that's two things. Brooks, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm wearing the brand new Stripes jersey. This dropped Monday. So 2 days ago, officially, I bought it from Soccer World. Thank you, Soccer World. Appreciate you guys. It's actually really nice. It is really nice. In the pictures, I went, we'll see. It's really, the badges, man, this is a solid, really hard badge. It's not flimsy like a badge should be. It's got some really cool little features to it. You know, it says something in the back there, as you can see. Let me put up the little graphic.
Isn't it it's us, it's US?
The best of us, the best of US is what it says. A couple of other little pieces. The side pieces on this shirt are nice. I did not pick up the Stars jersey. As you can see, it's really dark. I've heard a lot of people, a couple of former US men's national team players said they're not really impressed with that version. They say the Stars are a little bit too muted for them, but I actually really like it. I like the fact that the badge is all blue as well. Really nice jerseys. Brooks, are you going to buy one of these jerseys?
I don't know. I mean, they're kind of expensive. That's the thing.
It's the World Cup, man. This is the World Cup. This is the jersey that's representing the USA.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get you.
I do like how the numbers are kind of like, you know, in the middle, like in a box. I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they're right there. They're gonna put like a little bit of a fade and box with the one, the front number, and then on the back there's a big blank spot.
Yeah. Kind of like the Where's Waldo one they had, right?
Yeah, and everybody loves the Where's Waldo one. So they did a combination of this, the Where's Waldo, and the vertical stripes that they had in 1994. The great thing about this is, I don't know if I have any notes on it to be honest, but the guys were consulted. The players were consulted on this jersey. We found out recently that in 2022, the U.S. men's national team did not like the jerseys. They really did not feel that it represented them.
They're really
or our
bland.
country. They were. And you know why they were bland? Because almost every other freaking country had the same style jersey, right? It was all white with a little
like a crest and then whatever, like on the sleeves or shoulders.
It was generic. It was just anybody could have.
The best ones were the ones that Puma made.
Yeah, Puma had some great
Puma like outdid like everyone like in that tournament. Like Nike dropped the ball on that one.
Nike dropped the ball hard on that. But to Nike's credit, they consulted with the players. They listened to the players. They flew a bunch of the players in. Tyler Adams was one of the driving forces behind this. He said he put together some designs. He threw out some designs. They had big meetings about this. He didn't say who, but he said one of the U.S. men's national team players recommended the color green. And Tyler Adams said, get out. Get out now. You are not allowed to talk anymore. And he didn't say who it was. But yeah, I thought that was very funny. But they were consulted. They brought in, they helped the design. And now they feel very good about this jersey that represents not only them, but our country in one of the biggest events that's going to happen in decades here. The World Cup coming. Kicks off June 12th, man. For us, June 11th officially, Mexico, South Africa. The next day, us, 9 o'clock Eastern time. But nice jerseys. Yeah, I like, put the graphic up again. There you go. Really nice jerseys. Brooks, we got to get you one, man. We're going to have to get you one. Quick reminder to everybody, if you want to be entered to win our USA Soccer mug, officially from We Are Soccer, just leave a comment during our live video here. We're going to announce it at the end. Brooks is writing down names of people who are commenting. We're going to pull it out of the hat. And whoever gets pulled out wins the mug.
Yeah, looks like Katie's the only one, so looks like she's the lone winner.
Katie, you might be winning a mug.
Yeah. You need a coffee mug?
Yeah, you need a coffee mug? We'll get it for you.
Yeah.
All right, Brooks, we're moving on. All right, Champions League, my friend. Champions League results as they flow in. Yesterday, some expected results, I'll say. Some great games. We won't dig too much into it. We'll talk about the games that are coming up today. Bodo Glimt went into their matchup with Sporting CP 3-0 up. Bodo Glimt have been the Cinderella story, I would say, Brooks, right?
Yeah.
And everybody around the world's like, oh, man, this is awesome. This
I mean, they made it decently far last year.
Yeah, but, man, they're really doing it. This is awesome. They go in with a 3-0 lead, an aggregate lead, into their match with Sporting CP, and they get thumped 5-0 and lose on aggregate 5-3.
I know. And everyone makes jokes that Chelsea's gonna buy all their players or something or whatever, or something, or one of the clubs.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Speaking of Chelsea, they were down. Was it 5-0 on aggregate?
5-2.
5-2 on aggregate. Sorry, 5-2. Officially, that game, the first leg was 2-2, and then all of a sudden, PSG, bang, 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 it went 5-2. This one went to Stamford Bridge, and you're thinking, okay, 5-2 aggregate. Let's see what Chelsea can do here. And then PSG scored in the 6th minute. And then they scored again. And then again, and they're 8-2. Have you seen the picture? I don't have it here, Brooks, but have you seen the picture of the Chelsea manager, Liam Rossinier, sending on Garnacho in the 84th minute? And he's giving him a little piece of paper with some instructions.
No.
And you're like, bro, you're down 8-2 on aggregate. What do you think what are the instructions? What kind of magic instructions are you giving in the 84th minute to bring your team back? Like, if you're just trying to get the guy minutes, just put him on and tell him to run around.
Yeah.
Bizarre from Chelsea.
Yep.
Bayer Leverkusen, Arsenal. They were tied 1-1 after the first leg at Bayer Leverkusen. The second leg ends 2-0 Arsenal. They move on 3-1 on aggregate. Arsenal did what Arsenal typically do. They just kind of suffocated Bayer Leverkusen out and won an easy game 2-0.
Yep.
Our friends Rod and Dylan Sana were at the game. I don't know if you saw on social media. They got to meet the legend Ian Wright, Arsenal legend Ian Wright.
Oh boy.
The game. They were super pumped. So
Yeah.
not only
What
did
if they told him they own a soccer store?
I mean, I hope so. Ian Wright probably went, get me a discount, man.
Yeah.
Hey, how about that USA jersey? But they had a great time. They went to the game, got to see a great win, and then they went and met some of the legends of the game. So the other one that everybody was keeping their eye on was Real Madrid versus Manchester City. The first game played at Real. Real won easily 3-0. This one came back to Manchester, back to the Etihad Stadium. Officially ends Real Madrid 2, Manchester City 1. Bernardo Silva sent off in the 20th minute. Vinicius Jr. having a little bit of fun with the fans down there in Manchester. I say fun. The Manchester fans say he did the crying, gesture. But anyway, there is officially. So Manchester City knocked out. Chelsea knocked out. Arsenal move on. Sporting CP move on as well. Matches today coming up this afternoon. Barcelona hosting Newcastle, tied on aggregate there for them. I think we're all expecting, because it's at the Spotify Camp Nou, that Barcelona are just going to run riot over Newcastle. It's a tough place to go. We'll see. Newcastle have been playing well as of late, so who knows what happens there. Fully expect Barcelona 2-0 winners, in my opinion. Bayern Munich versus Atalanta. Now, if you're expecting a game out of this one, don't, because it's 6-1 in aggregate Bayern. This one comes back to Germany. I'd be surprised if Bayern put out, more than 6 starting players. The big issue they've got is goalkeepers. All their goalkeepers are injured. They're going to have to use a 16-year-old from the youth team to play goalkeeper. But up 6-1 shouldn't be an issue.
Yep.
Could it be an issue?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Liverpool, Galatasaray. This one comes home to Liverpool. Galatasaray leading 1-0 on aggregate. Brooks, this is the game I'm going to ask you or advise you to keep your eye on. I think Liverpool win this game 1-0, and it goes to extra time and maybe even penalty kicks. Liverpool been struggling as of late. Over the weekend, they played against Tottenham and drew 1-1. They played Cody Gakpo as a true 9. That was an interesting move. They left Ekitike on the bench, maybe with one eye on this game. Mo Salah didn't play very many minutes either, I don't think. So maybe, again, an eye on this game. Liverpool really want to advance. I think they know they're obviously not going to win the Premier League. This could be their only chance at a major trophy this season. So here you go.
Yep.
We'll see. It looks like they're going to go all in against Galatasaray. The other game, Tottenham Hotspur hosting Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid leading 5-2 on aggregate. Brooks, you were telling me you went back and watched the highlights of this
I
one.
only watched the first half. It was horrible from Tottenham. Horrible.
Just terrible.
I just there's just no way. There's just no chance. Like they're not blowing that lead, and I mean, what they just take 2. I mean, I hope to gosh it doesn't go 4-0 for Atletico Madrid, where the aggregate looks even worse. But yeah, I think they just, once Atletico Madrid get 2 or just 1 in general, I mean, the game's over. Forget about it.
I'm actually wondering how many Tottenham fans show up to this game. It's in London Stadium. They're down 5-2 on aggregate. They just barely drew with Liverpool, who have been struggling in the league. They haven't been playing well, Tottenham overall. Are the fans going to maybe decide not to show up to this game because they don't want to see their team lose again?
I mean, I just think there's supporters will come out and support, even though there's not high hopes. But I mean,
Well, they've been leaving early in a lot of the games.
yeah, I know.
Brooks, I do want to ask you this. Former goalkeeper, right? You played goalkeeper. You've done a little bit of coaching in your career. In that first game, the goalkeeper for Tottenham, Kingsky, made some errors. Made some bad errors. Like within 20 minutes, they were down 3-0 because of his errors. I think Igor Tudor did him a real disservice by pulling him, by subbing him. You know what? Igor Tudor, let me get on my soapbox here for about 30 seconds, Brooks, before you answer. Igor Tudor, you were the man who put him out there. You put him out there. You gave him specific instructions. I think you needed to ride with him. Pulling him has now ruined that man's career. I think everybody is going to refer back to this game. No one's going to forget it. We all see it, and you pulled him. And that's one of the things we're going to say. And he was pulled after about 24 minutes.
Well,
you know what, Igor Tudor, you should have rode with him and just let it ride out.
Well, you know what? No, it's a funny story. So, like, Landon and
Tim
Tim were interviewing Bob Bradley, and they most recently on their podcast. And they asked Bob. They talked about the Confederations Cup, and there was a game that Tim Howard had a howler. It was horrible. They might have lost by a few goals, and he talked about it. He started Brad Guzan the next game, and then they, I think it was a semifinal match. They played Tim. Before the semifinal match, Bob Bradley had a decision. Brad Guzan won me a game to get me to the semifinal. But do I go back to Tim after it was horrible? And that's the part of player management and man management. You have to figure out, was it just a bad game and they won't do that again? But it's just something you have to deal with. So Igor Tudor is dealing with the same thing. Do I start this goalkeeper that had a blunder over first half against Atletico Madrid, or do I roll with them, roll with the backup in this game? That's the question, and that's part of being a coach is man management, understanding your players. And I think the best coaches, in my opinion, understand the players, talk with their assistants, come up with a plan, and they understand that it was just a mishap, and that they're actually the better goalkeeper than the backup. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, I feel bad for the kid that, listen, man, you just, in
it was
front of
bad.
Everybody did that, and then the coach instantly pulls you, and he shows no confidence vote, but maybe knows him better than we do. But I don't think it's all his fault. Let's put it that way. The defense has been at 6 and 7. Igor Tudor hasn't done anything. I think the best result he's gotten since he's come to Tottenham is a 1-1 draw with Liverpool, which happened over this weekend, which they were lucky to get. I think that was in the 90-plus minutes. So by Richarlison, I expect fully a spanking by Atletico Madrid again today. I just hope the goalkeeper, and however many mistakes he makes, just leave him out there, man. Like, ride with him. And then, you know what? After the game, take some of the blame for the kid. Don't just put him on an island and say, yeah, it's his fault. So
BX Gunner's in here, so I'm sure he's happy with that Leverkusen defeat of our Arsenal's defeat of Leverkusen.
Yeah, man. Listen, the funny thing is about that Bayer Leverkusen, Brooks, I don't know if you saw any of their social media posts. They were making some great posts about corner kicks. Like, hey, we're going to round off the corner so there's no corner kicks. They said a bunch of stuff that's pretty funny because obviously Arsenal, majority of their goals have come this year from set pieces.
Yes.
Set piece masters there. Let's recap the games that are happening today. So Barcelona versus Newcastle, that's a 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff on Paramount Plus. Bayern Munich versus Atalanta, 4 o'clock on CBS and Paramount Plus. Liverpool versus Galatasaray, that's the game I think you should be watching. That's a 4 o'clock kickoff on Paramount Plus. And last but not least, Tottenham Hotspur home to Atletico Madrid, down 5-2 on aggregate. 4 o'clock kickoff on Paramount Plus there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brooks, we got a couple of other things we're going to talk about, but before we do that, I just want to let everybody know, put your comments in for the mug. Here's the mug. And if you don't win the mug, you can go on to our merch store and buy it. You can find the merch store linked at wearesoccernetwork.com.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fun stuff we have there going on. All right, buddy. This is the part of the show I was really dreading. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to do it. Yeah, Villa have been, listen, they started out with no wins in 5. They scored 1 goal in the first 5 games. So everybody was asking me, hey, are they going to be relegated? Aston Villa, are you going to be relegated? No, no, Aston Villa, we're not going to be relegated. Come on. You looked at their squad. You looked at what they did last year. You knew they were too good to do that. And then they went on this historic run. 11 games, 11 wins. They were absolutely incredible. Most of the wins were 1-0 or 2-1. They had one that was 4-1, a little bit of luck here and there. And they just went on this run, and it was just magical. They had everybody was healthy. Everybody was playing well, putting the ball in the back of the net. John McGinn was asked during the run, what changed? What happened from the first 5 games where you guys scored 1 goal to now this magical 11-game winning run? And he said, the difference is Morgan Rogers is scoring goals. And that's it. He said, we're working just as hard. Things are clicking, and Morgan Rogers is putting the ball in the back of the net. Now, Brooks, do you know what's not happening?
You're not gonna. Well, you're not finishing top 3.
We're not finishing top 3, but Morgan Rogers isn't scoring goals.
Correct.
I think he might be. There was, in this 11-game run through December and January, he was being talked about. Aston Villa being talked about. You can win the league. You can catch up to Arsenal. You can do it. And I said, no, this is Aston Villa. We don't do that. So hold your horses. And they said, well, Morgan Rogers, he's going to be the starter for England in the World Cup. Jude Bellingham's going to be on the bench because Morgan Rogers is playing so well. And I went, no, hold your horses again. This is an Aston Villa player. He will find a way to just regress. Now at this point, he's going to be lucky to be on the bench or on the plane to the USA for your World Cup 2026 because you don't even realize he's playing games in the last couple of months.
Well, at least you're up 1-0 in aggregate in your Europa League match.
So we do play Lille tomorrow at Villa Park, where we want to be. We love being at Villa Park. We love being up 1-0. And at that point, it's just, I think Villa going to win that game 1-0, maybe 2-1. We'll pull it out. We'll move on. We'll advance. I really hope and pray that Unai Emery's plan isn't to just win the Europa League, and that's how we get into Champions League.
Yeah.
Trust me, I would love to win Europa League. I would love a trophy. It's a major trophy. I'd love it, but I would rather finish top 4. I would rather finish top 4.
Can't have it both ways, Craig.
I know, and luckily for
maybe that's the easiest route is to win Europa League.
I think that's what Unai Emery thinks, but luckily for us, the 2 teams behind us, Liverpool and Chelsea, have both been whatting the bed. They haven't been able to pick up points and move ahead of us. Manchester United picked up 3 points over us this weekend and moved ahead, so they are now 3 points ahead of us and way better goal difference. So whether we can catch them and get into third back again, I highly doubt that's going to happen. Just please, God, Unai Emery, please, just fourth. I'll even take 5th at this point because it is almost a bang-on thing for sure that England is going to get 5 Champions League teams. Now, Brooks, England can actually get 7 Champions League teams.
How so?
Well, if Aston Villa go on to win Europa,
okay,
they're in. If Arsenal go on to win Champions League, they're in.
There you go.
But there's a chance they could get 8 teams.
How's 8?
8 teams could
that
go
work?
on to win, or to get into the Champions League next year. Now you're asking me how?
Yeah.
Well, one of the teams who's in the Champions League currently is not in the top 5, not in the top 7. And if they win the Champions League, they'd go in. Villa would go in, and if Villa win Europa League, and the top 5. So then you've got, it's incredible. Who's that team? You may be wondering.
Who is that team?
Tottenham.
Oh, yeah.
Who's down 5-2 on aggregate.
Well, it's not going to happen.
It's not
So,
gonna
unfortunately.
happen.
But I mean, listen, you only have what? I mean, I'm just looking at the Europa League matches. So what? You have Braga. I mean, Nottingham Forest is in there. I mean, Real Betis is never bad from Spain. The Spanish always do well in Europa League. You have Nate Stuttgart in there. Obviously, FC Porto, Roma. I mean, listen, I think they're all winnable games, to be honest with you. You could definitely win that. But, I mean, there are some challenges.
That's true. If Nottingham Forest go on to win and Villa finish in the top 4, Nottingham Forest, that'll make the 8. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, interesting. Anyway, Villa, though, the games left, Brooks, I'm not feeling confident. I'm really not feeling confident in what Aston Villa is doing at the moment. Unai Emery doesn't have this team playing well at all. John McGinn just came back from injury, played against Manchester United, didn't look great. Yuri Tillemans is still a couple of weeks away, it looks like. Bouba Kamara is out for the season. It's a little bit of an injury crisis, and I'm not using that as an excuse.
Sure.
But my God, please, can we just finish in the top 5?
Yeah.
That's it. We'll see if it happens. I don't know, Brooks. Nothing good. Can you?
I don't know. Do you want me to read your schedule?
Yeah, let me know who we minus the.
Yeah, I'm not going to include Europa League. So I got the last. Here's all the EPL matches you have left. So the 22nd, you are at West Ham, correct? Yep.
Winnable game, right? Winnable game, but we always struggle at West Ham. But yes.
Yep. And then you're home to Nottingham Forest, who are still in Europa League with you on April 11th.
Perfect. I mean,
Man.
listen, that's a winnable game. That's a local. They're only a couple miles away from Villa Park, so
Yep.
It's a little bit of a local game, but winnable game the way they've been playing in the EPL this year.
Yep. And then you're at Sunderland, which is always a difficult one. Yes, they've been dropping, but they've been good this year. That's the 18th of April.
Yep, they're on a little bit of a down slope right now, so best time to play them is right now for sure.
Yep. Then you're at home to Fulham, who are always difficult to beat sometimes, but they haven't been great the last couple weeks.
Roller coaster of a club right there this season. I feel that could be a nice 1-0 win for us. We need points there.
Here's the kicker. You should beat Tottenham, but you're at Tottenham. But, I mean, are they going to Villa and, be vanilla?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll predict the tie right now in that one, and us kicking ourselves going, how do we tie this team? But, yeah, they're going to need points because they're in a relegation battle, and they may see us coming through who's not playing well as an easy pickings. So
Yep.
That's a tough one. And I think I know the last two you're going to say.
Well, there's three here.
Okay.
So you're home to Burnley, which you should win.
Should win that game. Listen, at that point, Burnley will be relegated, I feel, and it's done and dusted. They got nothing to play for. Villa should win that one, okay?
Yeah.
Now, the last two.
Yeah, that's a rough one. So you're at Liverpool on the 17th.
No, I think, isn't that backwards? Isn't it away to Liverpool? No, sorry. Home to Liverpool, away to Manchester City is how we finish off the season. I think that's how it is.
Oh, correct. Never mind. My bad. Yes. Sorry. I've been reading them wrong then. So you're actually home to Tottenham, and then you're away to Fulham. You're away to Nottingham Forest. You're home
to Sunderland.
Home to Sunderland, and you're home to West Ham. Sorry, yes. So, yes, you're correct. So you're home. You are home to Liverpool on the 17th, and then you are away to Man City on the 24th.
And Man City, they will already have wrapped up a Champions League spot because they'll finish in second. I think by that point, Arsenal will have won the league. Manchester City will have nothing to play for. So I need 3 points there. We never play well at the Etihad against Man City, but 3 points would be great there. The kicker is the week before we play at home to Liverpool. Liverpool could be right on our heels or even above us at that point and trying to put distance between us. And it's never fun playing against Liverpool. I don't care how they're doing. It's a struggle. So
you need to win probably to stay. Let's say potentially to stay top 5. You probably have to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 8 matches left. You probably need to win 4 of them, get a draw.
I would say win 4, 2 draws.
Okay.
That's what I got right there.
I could see that, yeah.
We'll
so
see
the
if we
ones
should.
you have to win, you got to beat West Ham, you got to beat Forest, you need to beat
Burnley.
Fulham.
Got to beat Burnley.
And Burnley, if you get the Sunderland victory, you need to beat Tottenham. Like you need to just keep burying them.
Yeah, Brooks, crisis mode for Villa right now because we need to finish in the top 5 to get into the Champions League. And people are like, well, it's nice to get in the Champions League. No, I don't think you freaking understand the amount of money that comes pouring into the club if we get to the Champions League. We get to raise prices on tickets. We get games that are sold out. We get more games against bigger teams that people want to come see. More money equals being able to spend more money on better players. So this summer we can go out and buy better players. And that's what Aston Villa needs. We need you to be able to compete. If you want to be a top 6 club, you got to be able to compete wage-wise and go out and buy those players. And nobody is going to want to come to you if you're playing in the Europa League. All the players want to play in the Champions League. So, Brooks, God, yeah, I really want to swear a lot right now. Villa really just need to get their asses in gear and get to the top. Just finish out the season with some wins and get in the top 5, okay?
So my question is, does Unai Emery on the hot seat, even if he gets through some things? Because, if you expect wins in Premier League titles, he's not giving you that.
Right. He's taken us from a relegation battle to the Champions League, to the Europa League, and hopefully the Champions League this year.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the hot seat, no. I do have a working theory right now, what happens with Unai Emery this summer.
He leaves on his own?
I'm still working through it at the moment. I'm not willing to say.
He goes to Real Madrid?
Nope. I'm still working through it. I'll tell you off the air, and then we'll see if we're going to put this live at some point.
Okay.
Because if I put it live and it's recorded and replayed and I'm very wrong and it's stupid, I'll look dumb. So a working theory I need to work through. Okay. You ready to move on to U.S. Open Cup, buddy?
Yes.
All right, so there was an upset yesterday in the U.S. Open Cup that we're going to talk about. Brooks, there was almost an upset here in Michigan. Detroit City went and played against Michigan Rangers.
Well, they had the lead early on, and
I got the update. I wasn't able to go to the game.
It ended up being
Barone
5.
scored a free kick, a bomb of a free kick, and they went up 1-0 against Detroit City. And you're like, uh-oh. And Detroit City took a good 30 minutes to come back and equalize.
Yeah, they just a lot of these sometimes these matches that you just wear the opponent down. Like you can tell, like the inferior amateur sides. Unfortunately, I know a few guys that played on that Michigan Rangers team. Obviously, watching Giuseppe Baroni at Michigan State, and yes, he can hit a very good free kick still, even if he hasn't played competitive soccer probably like at that level at least in a while. But yeah, I mean, listen, it was a great job. They went up 1-0, but then Detroit City found it. A couple goals. Max Rodriguez scored the one to take them ahead 2-1. Our good friend Alex DeLue scored. I was happy to see him score one nice one, running inside, cutting and curling it to the back post there. But yeah, listen, I think Detroit City had it covered, and I didn't think they were gonna have to worry really. The interesting one though I was watching yesterday was one of the ones in our email newsletter I said we should people should watch was the Vermont Green against Portland Hearts of Pine. I also talked about it on the Sunday night show.
You called that game.
Yeah, listen, Portland, Vermont Green they've done it before. They knocked out Lexington when they were in USL League One, and then they lost the next round to, I believe it was Louisville City. They lost to, but they are a very good side. They flew a kid from the University of Washington, UCLA out across the country to get into this match. They have a lot of the guys that are still at the University of Vermont, which is a good soccer program. And then also they have a few of the guys that transfer out of the University of Vermont that now go to like ACC schools. So they're good. They have some kids that maybe have graduated that haven't found a spot yet. So when you assemble a team like that and you just bring guys that, honestly, those guys that haven't found spots should be on pro sides, and maybe they're international. Maybe they just they're not good enough to take up an international spot, but they are a very good side. I was not shocked that they would be Portland Hearts of Pine. They are big, physical, competitive. Obviously being at home in the cold Vermont weather is an advantage for them. So it'll be interesting to see who they're matched up in the next round with. And then if you get the same players back for the second round as you did for the first round, because sometimes that doesn't happen depending on the schedule with the college players and the coach allows the player to be released. So, but it was a good one. It was a good one. And, we'll see if our own Flint City Bucks can do that on Thursday night, because they play Forward Madison in Grand Blanc, in downtown Grand Blanc.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, Brooks. Look, big game happening here. The Flint City Bucks, which formerly Mid-Michigan Bucks, but they have a history of cup sets. They have brought MLS teams here and beaten them.
Yeah, Chicago Fire, the most recent.
Right. We all remember a couple of years back they did that. They did it to the Tampa Bay Mutiny before that.
Yeah.
Personally, you and I know players who've been on the field and helped win those victories.
Yep.
The Bucks, are they primed for an upset against Forward Madison? Can they win this game? Because Forward Madison's bringing a nice roster.
Yeah.
This is going to be a good game. If you're in the Michigan area, make sure you go out and watch this game. It's in the Grand Blanc area.
6:30 on Thursday.
6:30 kickoff. This is going to be a good game.
Yep. If you can't make out of the game, it's on YouTube. They're free. So,
Nice.
yeah, no, listen, when I watched Forward Madison against Knoxville this past weekend, they were not a bad side. They were different from last year. Their roster's changed a little bit. They've gotten a little younger. They have some guys that are pretty hungry. So they are a good side, and it'll be a challenge for the Flint City Bucks. Can they win? I think they can win for sure. The hardest part about this is that when you bring in, they talked about it last night with Vermont Green. They brought players in last weekend on Saturday. They had 6 guys at training. Then Sunday they had 14 players in. And then finally the day before they had everyone.
Sure.
And then the kid from UCLA was a little delayed, and they may not have and then the camaraderie is that to build the camaraderie and just get down what you want to do, the formation, the style of play. That's the biggest thing. Most of these amateur teams are probably going to sit, depending on the players they have, are probably going to sit back, absorb the game, and then go on the counter, right? That's just because when you don't have a lot of time to train and get prepared for everything, that's just how it is. So, but they have some good players coming in from Western Michigan, the Flint City Bucks from Michigan State, University of Michigan, Detroit Mercy. They have a kid coming in from Cornell, Wes Carnival, who we interviewed. Catch the interview on our YouTube channel. Wes will be playing for them as well this summer. So they will be interesting, and they'll have some guys obviously that have graduated that are coming into play for them as well. But anything can happen, especially these pro teams in particular, the League One side, and sometimes even the championship sides when they play their bench. They're just not experienced enough to understand these situations where they don't score, they start to panic.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. The longer the game continues to go 0-0, deeper into the game, into the second half, into late the second half, that's when an error happens on one of the sides. And usually it's the pro side that does some type of blunder, and it just causes some silly goal to happen that the amateur team's side scores, and that's how they win.
Love it. We always love when cup sets happen, man. We're always rooting for those underdogs.
Yep.
All right, so if you're in the Detroit area, get up and watch the Flint City Bucks tomorrow night against Forward Madison. Could be a cup set. If you can't get to the game, watch on YouTube. Yep. All right, Brooks. A lot of games coming up for U.S. Open Cup. Keep your eyes on that, folks. We're going to talk about it probably in the next couple of weeks as it continues on. We'll keep tabs on the big games and the underdogs who we're all rooting for.
Yes.
All right, buddy. It's that time of the show. We had a couple of comments. Not as many as we'd like, but we had a couple of comments. Why don't you pick out of the hats a winner for the mug, the USA mug. Let me put up a picture of that. Yay.
I don't know. Let's see here. Shuffle around. Oh, kick it with Katie.
Kicking it with Katie. All right. Thanks for winning that mug, Katie. Thanks for the comments. If you didn't win and you want that mug, wearesoccer.network.com. It's on. It's like $7, man.
Yep. Thank you for BX Gunner and OF Belong to commenting. We appreciate that, guys.
Appreciate it.
Also, tune into our Sunday night show if you guys are available. If you don't watch it, thank you for watching the replays, at least during the week. We do really appreciate that.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to leave comments. We'll respond to comments if you guys leave them in the video. And we do appreciate your support.
And last but not least, if you're not a subscriber of this channel, subscribe. Hit that little bell. We'd appreciate it. If you're listening on a podcast, do us a favor, give us 5 stars, leave a review. We'd appreciate it.
Yes.
For Wednesday, we're going to knock off and be done and head on out. So thanks for watching. Cheers.
Cheers.